All right, Davon, welcome to the studio. How you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for the invite, Ryan.
Absolutely. So I hope the traffic wasn't too bad.
Not bad at all. Not nowhere near what I'm used to in California. It actually we beat the traffic actually.
It's pretty wild because I've kind of just been here off and on for a few years now, and I can say that California, especially Southern California, is the worst traffic of any part of the world I've ever lived in. And I spent 18 years living in China.
Oh wow. Yes, now that's amazing. That we're worse than China because I've seen China on TV.
Yeah.
But no, growing up here all my life, I've seen traffic so to where now it's just like a never mind to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. So look, thank you very much for coming into the studio today. We're going to talk about Canine Support Team and everything that you guys are doing on that front. But I would just like to start off and make it a little bit personal. So where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Pomona, California.
Okay.
Yes.
How do I know that? I've been there or I've done something in Pomona, but it's not that far from here, right?
Not at all. It's metropolitan LA, right outside, going east, the last city of LA County, and coming west, the first city of LA County. So,
Right on the edge.
yes, right there.
And what was it like growing up in Pomona?
It was, pretty cool, man. A lot of people don't know too much about it, but it was really, really cool. We had a lot more than what people think. Raging Waters is right next to us. The LA County Fair is always there, so it was pretty nice, man. It's pretty nice.
I feel like as an outsider, because I'm from Canada, but then I lived in China for 18 years, and I was in Dubai and Switzerland for a bit. So I've just kind of started spending a little bit more time here, and it's such a hard city to get a handle on
Hmm.
because there's so many people
Yes.
and there's so much going on. Like I remember someone the other day was asking me like, "Oh, you know, um, what's the big sporting event that's on tonight in Los Angeles?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, there's like 10 professional
Yeah.
sports teams. It's like the Dodgers, the Lakers, the Clippers, the LA Galaxy football team or soccer team, the Rams.
Yes.
There's like this city is overwhelmed for entertainment choices."
Yes. Exactly. And that was the good part about growing up, like in the Pomona slash Ontario area. It was You're not too far away to go see the Lakers and the Dodgers, but you don't got to deal with everyone who's going to see the Lakers and the Dodgers
On a daily basis.
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
And can I ask like what you kind of studied when you were younger or what kind of things you were involved in?
Well, I like sports. I
Mm.
played pretty much a lot of basketball and football, some baseball and stuff growing up as well. I didn't really do a lot of studying. I went to church often as a kid, from about like maybe like 10 to 17 years old. I did a lot of church activities and church camps and things like that. But my most funnest and exciting thing when I was younger was like just getting together with some of my buddies, playing sports, riding bikes, doing things like that. So
Being outside.
I'm an outside guy, man. That's what I tell everybody, man. Even to this day, at 46 years old,
Mm.
I'm outside a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you live in the right part of the world.
Yes, exactly, man. Yes, thank God.
A lot of my friends in Europe or on the East Coast, even on the East Coast, are just caught up in snow and chaos.
Yes, I know. We are very fortunate. Although we just had rain that hit us pretty hard, especially in the Riverside County area.
Mm.
The rain hit us pretty hard, but I'll deal with that rain versus the New York snow
Any day.
any day. When I was out in New York, it wasn't even snowing,
Yeah.
and it was cold to me. And these people were walking around in shorts and t-shirts and all of this. And I'm telling these people, like, man, you guys are crazy walking around like I'm freezing out there. And a lady, one of the, a puppy raiser of ours, of the companies, she actually bought me a coat because I was complaining so much
Oh
about
wow.
the coat. Yeah.
So was there a time in your childhood where you realized like the power and the that animals have in our lives and things like that? Because I think that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today.
Yes, for sure I did. So me and my siblings and stuff, we were younger, and my dad came home with this dog, and we named him Max. And that dog was like life to us in the home, to the siblings, mom and dad working a lot, whatever. And me and my sister were in the backyard every day messing with this dog. And me and my sister, we love each other. We always got along, but brother sister rivalry. The dog was the only time that we didn't have that rivalry was when we're both messing with the dog.
Mm.
So looking back, didn't identify this early on, but as I got into Canine Support Teams program in prison, I thought about, wow, because we train service dogs to serve people. And I thought about how Max served in me and my family's relationship, me and my sister's relationship.
Yeah.
That dog, when we worked with him together, it brought peace between us.
It's funny how that happens, isn't it? Because like I grew up with a younger brother, and we were always kind of challenging each
Mhm.
other and battling all the time. But we grew up with like two beautiful golden retrievers,
Mhm.
and then whenever the dogs were around, it was like the
Yes.
time where we didn't have to fight each
Yeah.
other.
Yes, sir. I can totally identify with that.
Yeah, they bring peace.
Yes, they do, man. They
Yeah.
do. And when they say that dogs are man's best friend, I know you got cats, nothing against cats, nothing against birds at all. But I would rather lay next with a dog all day than a bird or a cat, man.
Yeah,
For real.
that's the truth. So after Max, did you have any other pets?
Yes, yeah, we had got another dog. This one was a little dog. It was more of my siblings. I let them have that one because he was a little one. But we had got another big dog too, a German Shepherd,
Mm.
Cody. I think it's Cody or Coley. Coley, excuse me. His name was Coley. And we had got this dog, and I took that dog to the basketball park with me, played baseball everywhere with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild how pets just become a part of your life, and they, especially during COVID, I find like I wonder your opinion on this because, we all got locked down.
Hmm.
We were all sitting at home, and I think like pet ownership or pet adoptions in the first like month of COVID just went
Yes.
through the absolute roof. And then before you know it, everyone was either pregnant or they had a new dog or cat or something like that. And I felt like that was such a telling moment in society where it's like, when you're not working 12 hours a day,
Mhm.
being out of the house, if you are going to be at home all day, pets are really comforting and offer a lot of support when you're going through something a little bit challenging.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, for sure. I agree. And it's funny you say that because I had got into the program like right after COVID hit during that second wave. When our nation was like masked up and defensive of everything that was going on, I had gotten into the program, and we had a wave where COVID came through, and a lot of the guys in the prison had caught it. So it was me and a couple of my other dog program buddies, my puppy program buddies, that we had to basically babysit dogs, right? So we're on watch, basically taking care of dogs. So because it's like maybe 12 to 15 dogs in here, it's 8, 9 guys left in the building who didn't catch COVID. Now we're on shifts.
Mhm.
So this guy's watching for this dogs at this time, then this guy. But what it did was it helped us come together because so much of the nation was kind of, breaking up and separating and getting away from each other inside prison, which is a chaotic environment where you're normally away from each other. You're normally kind of what they call like you know, basically, masked up. I don't like this guy. I want him away from me. No, during that time, man, it brought us so close together because we knew that those dogs needed to be taken care of. So we had to work as a team. And to put the icing on the cake on that one, a guy that I didn't really talk to much before that ended up becoming my best friend. And today is my best friend to this day, all through the COVID situation with the dogs.
That's wild, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
There was some good that came out of it all, right?
For sure it did, man. For sure it did.
So I was in Istanbul when that all went down, and I was actually sorry, I was in Ethiopia when all that went down.
Oh,
I was filming, and then the whole world kind of closed, and then I ended up having to make a choice: either come back to Canada, which is where I had my passport, where I could still go,
mhm.
or I would go to Istanbul, Turkey, because that was the last country to close
Uh-huh.
from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And anyways, I ended up going to Turkey instead of going all the way back to Canada because I didn't really have much there anyways. And I ended up spending like almost 5 months in Istanbul, Turkey, which is where I picked up my cats. Because
Wow.
if you've ever been to Istanbul, it's a wonderful like pet environment, and they have like dogs and wild cats everywhere.
Okay.
And if you find one that likes you, you can like literally like adopt it.
Just take it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most pet friendly cities I think I've ever been to in my life. Like you can go into like your favorite clothing store, and there will be street cats in the store sleeping on clothing that people are going to buy,
Wow.
and no one will move the cats because they love having the cats. They see them as being
Okay.
like a higher power, like
Yeah.
they feel there's something really spiritual to them.
Therapeutic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Therapeutic.
And they're everywhere.
Yes. No, no, I could totally get that, man. There's sometimes you'll have, you have a guy that got his, new sweater or new clothes, in his package or something that his family had bought him in prison,
Mm.
and the dog's laying next to it. And you'll see the guy sometimes he'll go around the dog to reach to get it versus saying move, which is a command we tell dogs that.
All right.
But because they're so therapeutic and while you're in the cell, you make that connection with the dog to where you're like, I had a dog sleep. I'll reach around him and get my sweater this time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So no, I get that. I get that.
So explain to me what Canine Support Team is.
Okay, so Canine Support Team is a service dog company. We provide assistance dog to wounded veterans, children with autism, anybody with disabilities. I don't like to say disabled. I like to say less able because I don't know, personally disabled, kind of sounds like I'm doing them a disservice because a lot of the people that are disabled, some of them and the majority of them can do more than I can do. So I just don't like using it. But for the sake of our conversation, we provide service dogs and assistance dogs to wounded veterans, like I said, children with autism, and pretty much even people who are in need. So we'll have some people who may not have a disability on paper, and they may, had just lost one of their dogs. We had a client that I went to Florida out there to see. She had just lost a dog. One of the other dogs that she had was not as energetic and was not as going as she was before. And I take her, one of our dogs, Sadie, I take the dog out there, give her to her, and her dog is running around the house with life. So every dog that we put out there is meant to be of service. It may not have the paperwork as a service dog, but it still goes out to be a service to someone.
Yeah. It's a strange rule, actually, that whole service dog, service pet
Hmm.
thing. Because coming from where I was in the Middle East and in Europe, people are okay. Let's take Europe for example. In Europe, you can just bring your pets anywhere.
Hmm.
Like no one's really going to bother you. But in the in the United States, there's a little bit of controversy about this, where like you can kind of bring your pets anywhere, but if you have a service pet, you can absolutely bring your
Yes,
pet anywhere.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
then there's all this documentation around this.
Mhm.
But did you know that it's really hard to get a service animal certificate for a cat versus a dog? It's pretty easy for a
Yes.
dog.
Yes. Yes. No, I do know that, man. And actually, too, and I believe in California. I could be wrong on this, but I believe that California, they qualify uh, dogs and small horses can be service pets, excuse me, versus any other animal.
I
So
read that, yeah, but
yes,
not
yeah,
cats.
yeah, cats. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think if you're going through something challenging, and we all have been there in the past, and we're all going to have it these days in the future as well, having any pet around is a godsend.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
no, for sure, especially Canine Support Teams
Mm.
dogs. We put so much work and effort into these dogs to where we make sure that when these dogs go to a client or a person who is in need of a dog, that it is absolutely going to be able to assist that person in whatever, whether it's deep pressure therapy, whether it's, retrieval of items, whether it's opening doors and closing them, whether it's turning on lights. We make sure that before we hand the dog off to a client, that dog is in tip top shape. And that's why we're like up there as, the best service dog company out there.
So where's the company located, and how did this start?
Well, we are located in Marietta, California, but we are all over. We go all over and we send dogs all over. And we have clients come from all over to get our dogs. The company started through Carol Rockmore. She had a she had an issue with polio,
Mhm.
and she basically trained her own dog one day to be a service dog to her, and then she had the idea to start a service dog company, and so that's how Canine Support Team was birthed. And then she connected with my supervisor now, who is like top when it comes to knowledge in dogs and knowing what a service dog is to be and what a service dog is going to look like. Even before the dog is complete, she knows, "Nah, I don't know about that. The dog can be in training 2, 3 months, doing everything, and she could say, yeah, I don't know about that. It's just something she reads. But anyway, so Carol got with her and brought her in as one of her first trainers, and the program has been ballooning ever since.
And how many years ago was that?
This was, I believe, I want to say 26 years ago, was it? 30. Yes. 33 years ago. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
33 years ago.
Wow,
Yes.
that's a lot of heritage.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about this. So the founder, you mentioned like they had polio,
Yes.
and so what was the use of how does a service dog help if you have polio?
Well, so I know from personally, my uncle had polio, and what it does is it kind of takes away their mobility,
Mhm.
and it takes away some of the use maybe of their lower extremities or upper extremities. So to where there are certain things that Carol could not do anymore for herself, and to where she trained her dog to do those things for her. So, for example, right now, Carol's in a wheelchair. So, to where if something falls on the ground, Carol can't go down there and get it,
Mhm.
but a canine support team dog can go down there and get it for her.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. So I was on a flight, oh my God, probably like 2016 or 2017. I was in Canada going from one city to another. I can't remember. And there was a young girl on the plane. She was probably like 17 or 18,
Mhm.
and she had a big golden retriever with her.
Mhm.
And I was amazed by this because this was like the first time I'd seen a golden retriever like come right onto the plane, no problem at all.
Mhm.
Like didn't have to be in a cage underneath the plane, which is completely a terrible way to travel with a pet.
Yeah.
But so it came right into the cabin, and then she sat down, and then the dog literally like sat down right on her feet
Mhm.
and stayed there perfectly for the whole time. And then like midway through the flight, I went over to her and I asked her like, "Hey, like, how'd you get your dog on the plane? That's really cool." And she's like, "Oh, it's a service dog.
Mhm.
She has a rare like blood disease,
Okay. Yes.
and the dog is able to smell
Yes. Yeah.
when she needs to take a certain medicine.
Mhm.
So there's some kind of like imbalance in her
Yes.
body
Exactly.
with something to do with her blood. I didn't really understand what it is, and I still don't understand today. But she said there when her body goes through a disbalance, the
Mhm.
dog will get aware of it before she does
Mhm.
and freak out and warn her to take some injection that she had.
Yes.
So I found that to be absolutely amazing, and I had no idea dogs could do that.
Oh, yes. No, dogs, I'm telling you, man, they are super smart. So we had a client that just came to one of our team trainings about 2 or 3 team trainings ago. And our dog, Bliss, right? The dog that we trained, fully trained at CST, the dog Bliss, whenever she would start to go into one of her zone out moments or one of her like convulsing moments, at the start of it, Bliss would go and get her husband. And that's thing. So we taught Bliss the basically awareness things while she was in the prison program.
Mhm.
But then while the lady was at CST, we had to teach Bliss just on the fly. And we were able to teach her on the fly because of the great job that the guys do in the prison.
Sure.
So we taught her on the fly to go from her to the husband to alert him that she was getting ready to have one of the moments. So now, what is Bliss doing in that? This is what she's doing. She's about to have the moment. I'm going to get help before the moment gets too bad,
Hmm.
to where normally without the dog, the husband's not around or the husband's in another room. Now in the moment, it's all the way or it's all the way there, excuse me. Now she's in a full convulsion or full seizure. And now the husband comes in and finds his wife, laid out on the ground or whatever. But with Bliss there, now before it even comes to that point, the husband is able to come and get whatever aid to his wife that is needed before she goes all the way into a seizure or whatever.
So you've mentioned prison a few times. How is Canine Support Team working with prisons?
Okay, so in Canine Support Teams, we have a prison pup program. And what we do is we go in there, we teach the guys basically some dog training skills, service dog training skills. We give the guys tests, we give the guys manuals, tracks, all these things for them to read and learn. They have homework and everything. But we teach them basically the fundamentals and the grounding of what we need with the dogs. And then the guys carry the training all the way through. So Shara started going into the prisons over 20 years ago, and she started actually in the women's prison first. Then she made her way into the men's prison program, and she's basically teaches the guys the basic like techniques, clicker training, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, directions come with corrections, certain things like that, to where the guys they learn these things, and once they're able to learn them and show us that they can do it, then we hand them a dog and we basically turn around and walk out because these guys have done nothing but show us that they can be trusted with these animals.
So the dogs stay in the prison once the prisoners who are going through this educational process, once they get up to a certain level where you guys feel comfortable, they get to keep a dog in prison.
Yes, they get to keep the dogs in the cell. I had a dog in the cell with me for 4 years. I had different dogs, of course, but yeah,
Uh,
for a little over 4 years, I had dogs living with me in the cell.
That's wild. So I've seen like on social media and stuff like that, and maybe because it's more photogenic, they put it on social media.
Hmm.
But I've seen like prison programs with cats,
Yes.
where it's like if you're on good behavior, you get to adopt a cat,
Yeah.
and then you get to keep the cat with you. And I think that's absolutely fantastic because they're quite small and quite easygoing. But dogs come in all shapes and sizes.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
I mean, how did this even come to be? Like, are there so many dogs out there that like literally like every prisoner in America could have a dog or
Well,
ah,
I mean, I'm sure there's enough dogs out there to give of every prisoner in America a dog. But when you're talking about our prison pup program that Canine Support Team is involved in, we don't just say, well, you know what, we got all these many dogs. Let's just give everyone a dog. So Officer Lopez, Danny Lopez at CIM at Chino Prison, he pretty much is over the prison part of the dog program. And he actually views everyone's history record. What have they been involved in? Have they been doing self help classes? Have they been doing college? Are they working? Have they had any write ups within the last 3 years or whatever? So he looks at all of this and he says, you know what, this person qualifies, this person doesn't. Let's wait for a while on this one and see, how he is, whatever. And he will actually keep his eye on the person who may didn't qualify right now.
mm.
And then in a year, Lopez will call him and say, hey, look, you got a chance to get in a program. You still want to, whatever, you've been clean. Now you have the amount of clean time that's needed. So here, and then they come in and they'll start as secondaries. They don't just start as primary. Basically, a primary is one who lives with the dog. The secondary is one who helps, with the dog's training or pottying the dog or walking the dog or whatever. So it's not just that we have dogs and we say, here, everyone get a dog. These dogs mean so much to us because we know the importance of what these dogs are going to do.
Mm.
So to where we actually talk to Lopez, hey, is this guy? Yeah, you know what? He's been out here. He's been working every day. He's ready for a dog. And then we say, hey, we've been watching you. We see you're ready. Lopez has given us the okay. Congratulations. Here's your dog training.
So the dog training, so you get allowed as a prisoner, you get allowed to train a dog based on good behavior.
And that right there is a key word, allowed. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
This is truly a privilege, man. It's not something that you're owed. It's not something that you're guaranteed. It is a privilege. And so I'll use me for an example. When I first got in, I was kind of getting in the program to kind of get away from some stuff that was on the yard. I had came from a certain type of living in prison where I was in sales and I lived in sales for 12 years of my time. I get to this prison where I'm in a dorm and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this ain't it. It's wide open. Everyone's here. I don't have my privacy. In the cell, it's me and my cellie. We're responsible for what goes on in there in these dorms. Everyone's going to go down for whatever, Billy wants to do. So I kind of got in the program like, you know what? I'm just going to get out of here. I'm going to get over there. I'll just walk a dog and take a dog out every now and then, but I'm not going to, train a dog and have a dog living with me.
Mhm.
And I go upstairs one day and I watch this guy who's training the dog. His name Tony Mora. And this guy is training his dog, and I'm seeing this dog turn on lights, turn off lights, go get water bottles out of a cabinet, then go back, close the cabinet door, come back, pull a wheelchair to him, all this. And I'm like, wow, man, this right here is cool. Like, I would sure love to do this. Now, keep in mind, in my mind at first, I just wanted to get out of the condition that I was in. Now I'm seeing this and I'm having a change of heart when I hear we had a little boy painted up there on the mural on D Yard at Chino Prison. We had a little boy on a mural, and I heard the story how this little boy had got a dog that basically like changed his life. The little boy ended up passing away, but he got a dog that ended up changing his whole life. Now, at this time, I'm in prison for robbery, right? And so that's what I do. Up until this time, I'm known as a taker. That's what I do. So I see that and I hear that, and my heart just gets warm over that. Then I'm laying in my bed in the cell about maybe 2 days after this, and a wounded warrior commercial comes on. And the guy is talking about, how he, lost his leg in battle, fighting for the country, whatever. And I just thought about, my daughters who were in high school at the time, how they can go to school in America way different than they can go to school in other countries. The terror that some of those kids face in some of those countries, just walk into school. Yes, in America, bad things happen, but the terrorism rate that's in those other countries, the kidnap rate and stuff is crazy. And our veterans make sure that our country is not at the top of the charts when it comes to those things. And I thought, you know what, man, I'm going to get in this program and help get guys like him who fight for our country a dog, because that's what this program is about. So keep in mind the taker who only wants to take. Now he's saying in his mind, I want to do something where I can give something to someone. That's what Canine Support Team does to us prisoners. It lets us know that, hey, there is something that we can do, or excuse me, to me when I was a prisoner and to the guys that are now, it lets us know that, hey, you can actually do something that really means making amends. In prison, you have a lot of programs that talk about making amends. Canine Support Teams is actually the program that gives you a chance to make a direct amends.
What's the opposite of a taker?
A giver, a lover.
So those are the two kind of roles that you can
Yes,
play.
yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep. I don't play two roles. I only give now. Yeah. I'm only a giver now, man.
So the canine support team will come in and take these prisoners on good behavior, and then train the prisoners how to train the dogs.
Yes, sir.
And then does the prisoner get to keep the dog, or does the dog then go once it's reached a certain level of training? Do you guys then take the dog back and then give it to someone else in society that needs
Yes.
that dog for that training?
Yes, and we go through what is called a team training process. So say, for example, you got a guy in there right now, right? Mr. Tran, he's training up a dog, and this dog is like going to be a great dog. We can look at the dog, we see what the dog is doing. And so this dog is an analytical dog who's mellow, who doesn't need a lot of sternness in the commands given to her. So we'll see a client, we'll have the profile of the client. He's a meek person. My coworker, Bailey Sampson and Shara, they will do basically an observation and an interview with the person, and they gauge how this person is, and they look at the file and they say, you know what? Storm, which is the dog that Tran has, Storm will be great for this guy. And then we'll match, but we'll pull maybe two or three other dogs that are ready just in case Storm may not be that match for him. Then we make the connection like that. But as I said before, my supervisor's so good, 9 times out of 10, the one she says is for the client usually makes it with that client.
That's wild. So where do you get all these dogs from?
So we have people that donate. We have breeders that are connected to our company, and sometimes we'll get, we'll go and get a shelter dog every now and then. We'll go and get a shelter dog. I had a shelter dog one time, and that dog turned out to be great.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Like, because you never, or at least I never really thought about like different pedigrees of dogs and different ways of training dogs, and which dogs would be more susceptible to training or less susceptible to training.
Yes.
And this idea of matchmaking between
Yes.
dogs and owners, I think is wild, because like when you're a kid, you just want to go and get a dog,
Yes.
and you don't really care where it comes from, and as long as it
Yes.
doesn't bite you and it's really cute and cuddly, you're a winner, right?
Exactly. And you know what's so funny about that? So I had a buddy named Sean, and Sean Davidson. I was growing up, and they had a dog, and the dog did not like the sister like at all.
Mhm.
Like Sean and his brother, the mother and the dad did not like the sister for some reason. So I'm not understanding none of this until now. I'm learning about dogs, and in the dog program, matches, connections, depending on how a person is, whatever.
Mhm.
You know, Sean's sister was a really, really mean girl, man. She was mean to, she was his older sister. She was mean to all of us.
Yeah.
So now I see why the dog didn't like her, But
Pets really pick up on those vibrations.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, man. But I could not understand. She wasn't mean to the dog,
Mhm.
but the dog knew, hey, this is a mean person. I don't like her. Yes, sir.
It's interesting. Like I've heard also too that pets can bind or connect with their owners, or choose their favorite owner. Like sometimes like a couple will adopt a dog, and the dog will favor, or the cat will favor one of the owners instead of the other. Like a husband or a wife, like they'll focus on the wife or focus on the husband. And I've heard too, like Sometimes it's the animal it like syncs up with the owner's like nervous system. And
Yes.
it's like, people who are super calm,
Hmm.
like some dogs will like a super calm owner
Hmm.
and they can feel that vibe. And then other dogs like people who are maybe more high strung or something like that because that suits their vibe. So it's amazing how like dogs can sense what kind of human you are even if you haven't figured it out.
Yes. No, for sure. And so we got to look at it this way and understand dogs are pack animals, right?
Mm.
They descend from wolves. They're pack animals. So dog is always going to look for an alpha. Who is the alpha? Who's the most confident person? Who's going to lead me the best? Who's going to supply from my resources the best? So forth and so on. Dogs will look for that. And that's one of the things that we teach the guys in prison, and that the guys in prison are very, very good at reading. Okay, what type of dog do I have? Do I have an analytical dog? Do I have an ambio dog? Do I have a driver? Do I have an expressive dog? What do I have? And so, because I have, say, an expressive dog, now if I'm normally just a chill and kind of a down person, not down like that, but just kind of laid back, calm guy, whatever, and I got an expressive dog, I may have to jazz myself up. Me, they brought me an analytical dog. I'm always like 100 all the time. So I had to go down to about 50, from 100 to 50, to train this dog. Why? Because it's not about me and it's not about getting the dog to where I'm at. It's about me going to that dog's level so that I can get the dog to someone else. If I try to take the dog, we always tell the guys, we don't change the dog, we change the behavior. If I try to change that dog that's an analytical and make her drivey and expressive like me, I can break that whole dog to where now that dog's no use to a client that we may have, because that dog has no confidence in humanity, let's say, because the human that had me totally did not understand me and basically crushed everything that I was.
That's wild. So you don't try to change the dog, you try to change the dog's
The
behavior.
behavior. You don't want to change the dog. You want to, now there's some trainers that try to change the dog. Not really gonna have a lot of success in that. But if you can allow the dog to be its personality, but just change the behaviors and modify those behavior problems,
Mhm.
hey man, you're gonna have a great dog.
We should treat people like that.
Yes, and that's one thing that I learned. Actually, prison actually taught me
Yeah.
to do that, man. Never try to change a person, accept a person for how he is. Me and my supervisor was talking the other day, and I said, I learned so much to see a person's goods, right? Say a person has 100 goods and you see one bad.
Mhm.
Do you eliminate those 100 goods and look at that person's one bad? No.
You think about school, you think about work, like if you join a big company or something, and then of course, if you're in a relationship with a partner or something like that, it's amazing how many times, like I'm in my mid 40s also, like it's amazing how many times in my life someone has legitimately tried to change me.
Yes. Yes. No. And
And I like that idea of like you meeting the dog where the dog is.
yes.
And I was like, we should just do that with people. Like, let's just meet people where they are and just try to make them the best version of themselves at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's truly too what life should be about. That's truly how life should go. Meet people where they're at and deal with them there. Put, no expectations, man. Every time that I get a dog, right? When I was in the prison program, when I would get a dog, the expectations for the dog don't come out right away. I have to come to where that dog is, see where that dog is, build the confidence in that dog, and then start setting some expectations, training wise expectations for that dog. I don't come right in and throw my expectations right on the dog, because if I do that now, I'll never be able to judge what type of dog I'm dealing with.
Wow, it's pretty psychological. Okay, so you rhymed off a bunch of terms about how you classify dogs earlier.
Mhm.
Can you just go through that really slowly and give me like a
Yes.
description?
Yes.
Yeah.
So an analytical dog is going to think about everything. So I'll give you an example. An analytical dog, you're going to say, sit, and the dog may take like 2 steps towards you and look to the left, maybe look to the right, maybe look up, then look at you, then look down as it's going to sit. A driver dog, you're going to say, sit. That dog's going to sit, tail's going to be wagging, he's going to be looking for something else. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What? An expressive dog, you're going to say, sit. That dog may come close to you, kind of nudge you a little, and then sit. So we teach the guys that there are, different styles. You have to see the dog's personality type before you can really fully go in and train the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that the only three there?
Yeah. Or I gave you three. What did I give you? I gave you
Analytical,
analytical,
expressive.
expressive, dry. Oh, and amiable. So amiable dog, right? I love all dogs, but amiables are my least favorite to train because an amiable dog will really show a lot of its emotions and a lot of its sadnesses and sorrows and all whatever during uh our bonding time so I can get to know what type of dog you are. And then in training, when you're training the dog, now here the dog wants to come and lay on you during something, or may tap out a little early in a session and then just want to come up and lay on you or lay right on your feet. So yeah.
That sounds like the perfect pet.
Yeah, yeah, no, listen, when you train them up and stuff, they're good for a pet, right?
Mm.
They're really, really good to have as a pet and as a service dog as well. But my personal preference is I love expressive dogs
Mhm.
because I'm an expressive guy, so we can get along perfectly.
So I think that's a really good description there. Like what you're doing is not creating or training uh, pets or dogs to be pets. You're treating them to be companions, but also first and foremost service animals that provide a
Yes.
service
Hmm.
to the owner.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
not
Yeah.
just a cute and cuddly thing that'll sleep at your feet.
No, no. I mean, we got cute and cuddly ones, but they work. They're service dogs.
That's amazing. So walk me through your own situation if you don't mind, because I find this really interesting. So you end up yourself in prison, and you were there for how many years in total?
A little over 15 years, 15 years and some change.
And then when did you kind of go from being a taker to someone who wanted to like give back? And when did that canine support team introduction come?
Okay, so I go into prison and I get I'm not gonna say get charged with because I was guilty of the crime that I committed, but I was charged with multiple robberies and I got convicted of those robberies. So they sentenced me to 36 years. And I go into prison, and my mentality at first is I got 36 years, man. Ain't no reason for me to do nothing but keep on doing what I like.
Mm.
I liked gambling, I liked smoking weed, I liked using cell phones. Those were things I like to do. 36 years, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And so really quick, I had got my first write up because of my mind says I got 36 years. So one of the officers was telling me to get back in the line. I had went to the law library. So he said, "Hey, Patterson, get back in the line." So I'm talking to someone who's on the other side of the fence. So I'm still talking. He's like, "Hey, get back in the line." So I kind of step back towards the line, but I don't get back all the way in. So I'm still talking to it. So he says, "Hey, Patterson, get back in the line before I write you up, man." I
And a
get up.
and a write up
A
is
write-up is basically a disciplinary.
okay. Yeah.
So he says, "Yeah, get back in line before I write you up, man." So I say, "And I got 36 years. I don't give a about a write-up."
Mm.
So he's like, "Okay, well, give me your ID." I'm like, damn, that became real then. I'm
Yeah.
like, dang. So he took my ID. That was my first write-up right there for disobeying a direct order. So so anyway, now to pick it up, about year 3, I am on the, prison yard at Calipatra. This is a main line yard in California. It's GP, general population, where all the prison politic rules stand. And I'm on the yard, and a one of the white guy comes up to me. His name's Steve Brigida. And he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Devon, you going over to the chapel today?" So I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, man, I'll be there. I'll be there." And I'm like, "All right." So he's like, "Yeah, yeah, just come over now." I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna come later." I'm trying to really get this guy to go away from me because his life is on the line and I could be getting disciplined for this because there's, areas or territories or whatever you want to call it on the yard that this is the blacks area, this is the whites, this is the Hispanics, and so forth and so on.
It is that segregated.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm really trying to get the guy away from me. But I did like this guy because I had talked with him a couple times. But at this time, I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll be there, whatever. So he's like, "Oh no, just why don't you come now? Come down with me, whatever." And I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So we get over there and he's pretty much he's laying down the gospel message to me, right? The gospel message is about, God sending his son into the world to die, for our sins. And I had heard the gospel message from him like I never heard it ever before. And I grew up in church and everything, but I never really understood grace, God's grace and his mercy and everything, and how it just can overpower and undo everything that we messed up totally in our lives. So anyway, this guy is talking to me about this, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? Wow. And so I go back into my cell and I'm thinking about like, you know, God's love or whatever. And so I asked Steve, I said, man, you know, how did you take those chances on, what I mean, coming up to me to talk to me like that on the yard?
Mm.
And he was just like, man, I love you. I really do, man. He said, I love you. I don't want to see you die in your sins in the condition that you are in. When you're in prison, nothing is hidden. Everybody knows what everybody is doing. If you're doing heroin, everybody knows. If you're, selling weed, whatever, everybody knows it. So anyway, to make a long story short, he expressed that to me, the love that he had. And I thought about it. And I always hear like, God, loves people and people who are godly should love people. And I was kind of scarred in the church that I went to growing up because of the love that was not there. Now, keep in mind, I'm younger, so we look for perfection. Now I know that nobody's perfect. But as a youngster, you don't understand that nobody's perfect. You look for perfection, especially when you're in a church and so many people are talking about love and preaching it. So you look for that perfect love. So anyway, I had asked him too, like, what does God's love truly mean? Like, what does it mean that God loves you? And he told me, he said, you see what I did with you on that yard with the chances that I was taking? He said, that's what it means that God loves you. Because I know God loves you, I want you to experience his full love. So I'm looking at him and his cellie, Mr. Wes Burleson. I'm looking at these two guys and I'm seeing how they live. And I was just like, man, I want, if these guys can be in prison living like this, I can do it too.
And when you say living like this, that's a mental state, right?
A mental state, but not only just mental, their actions, how they work. They weren't into weed.
Mm.
They weren't into gambling. They weren't into the politics that were on the yard. They weren't into like bringing in the cell phones and all the stuff that I was into. These guys were into it. The majority of the guys on the prison yard are into those things. So when you see those guys who aren't, they stick out. And then you wonder, how are they not into this? It's so much pressure, especially political pressure on the yard for you to be a certain way, do a certain way, look a certain way, whatever. How are these guys not able to look like, how do they do it? And so I basically started to hang out with this guy and everything. And I ended up giving my life to the Lord full fledged, truly repented of the way that I was living and how I was living and said, you know what, I'm going to live different. And so, boom, right there, everything cold turkey, gave up everything and was like, you know what, I'm going to do right. Stop smoking weed right then, stop gambling. I stopped using cell phone for a minute. And I'll explain that part later on. But I stopped using the cell phones for a minute. I had fell back on that, but never smoked no more weed again, never gambled or anything again after that. So here it is, 10 years after that. I'm walking straight. I'm in a lot of self help classes. I'm doing some good things. I get to CIM, Chino Institution for Men, where Canine Support Teams prison pup program is. Now, I had taken a lot of self help and I understood a lot of things that were triggers. I understood a lot of things that were my character defects. I understood what amends were and making amends and everything was. But when I got into this program, I learned how to actually apply everything that I was learning. That's the hardest thing in prison is to apply the things that you learn in the self-help programs. So when I was in Canine Support Teams Prison Pup program, it actually gave me the chance to apply everything that I was learning in the self-help programs from patience. You have to use patience when you're dealing with other guys. You have to be a team in this program. You have to use patience when you're dealing with other guys. You have to use empathy when you're dealing with these dogs and certain things that they're going through. Sometimes when a dog is not getting something, you have to put yourself in this dog's mind state or this dog's place, the true meaning of empathy. You also have to understand sympathy and be sympathetic. All of these things that you learn, you get a chance to apply them in Canine Support Teams prison pup program. So now I'm in this program. I get allowed to get in it because my behavior and everything had been good. I had like a 10-year streak of no write ups or anything.
That's what I wanted to know. So
Yes.
you met this guy on year 3, and
Yes.
then from year 3 to year 10, so
Yes.
that 7-year period you
Excuse me.
changed.
Excuse me. Let me go back.
Yeah.
Year three to year from year 3 to year 9, I did good. I had no write ups or anything at all. I had a shortcoming where I grabbed a cell phone from someone to take it to someone else, and a police officer in the prison, a CEO, correctional officer in the prison, caught me basically taking a cell phone from where it was to go to, or excuse me, from where it was coming from to where it was supposed to go. So I got to write it out. I can't say, oh, it's this person. I got to write that out.
Mm.
So I get that write up. That's at year 9. So from year 9, excuse me, from year 9 to year 11, no write ups, no nothing at all. That was the only write up within a 6 or 7 year span. I was 7 years clean. Then I had that. Then I had 2 more years clean. So when Lopez looked me over, he seen that I had the clean time to get in the program. He seen that I had the self help and everything. So now I'm in the program at this point. Excuse me, I forgot
And
that part.
and was the canine support team program, was that something like everyone in the prison was talking about? Like, was that something
So
like a desired place for everyone to try to get into, or was it just like a was it like a real niche? Like, I'm just curious, if you're in
okay.
a prison with like a few thousand people,
Mhm.
like how many people know about this program or care about this program?
So I had left the, let's call it, wild prisons, the level 4 prisons. Now I'm down to level 1, which is where is Chino's. Chino's a level 1, level 2 facility. So I had left the level 4s, and now I worked my way because I was discipline free and my points just kept going down year after year. So now I'm here at Chino, and I know the dog program is there. You see guys walking on the yard with dogs and everything, but as I said earlier, I was in a situation that I didn't like.
Mm.
I was like, man, I got to get out of here. So I used the dog program at first as a ploy to get where I wanted to get. And Lopez, he scanned me. He seen that I fit all the criteria or whatever. So boom, he puts me in the program. Now, while I'm in the program, I'm saying I'm just going to walk a dog and take it out to potty, whatever. But, pick back up where we are. I went full fledged. I get into the program. Excuse me. I fill out the application and everything. I meet with CST, meet with Lopez, all that. I get into the program and I'm a secondary. I'm doing the little things that secondary do, take the dog out, walk the dog, let the dog potty. But like I said earlier, I go upstairs one day during the guy's training session and his dog is looking dynamic. It's turning on lights, opening doors, bringing water bottle, doing all of these things. So that was my encouragement right there, was what the dog was doing. And then, like I said, I heard the story that same day about that boy that had got a service dog from Canine Support Teams prison pup program.
Mm.
So what the dog was doing and the purpose of the dogs, that for I'll say this, I believe that the prison pup program turned on the sympathetic light bulb that I had within me. It was there. I had to mask it because of the prisons and places I was at and who I was, whatever, in prison. I had to kind of mask it, but Canine Support Team's Prison Pup program helped me take off the mask and turn on that sympathetic light. Because at the moment I seen that dog doing what it was doing, and I found out that it was going to people like the little boy they had on the wall that had got a dog for them and then passed away shortly after, that's was the aha moment of dog training for me. That's when I really got into it.
That's wild, because when you think about prison, and I've never been to prison or I've never even been in a prison like as a guest or anything like that, you'd have to think like you have to put up walls to survive.
No,
Like,
definitely.
And
You definitely have to do that.
and being sympathetic, having any empathy at all is just like the weakness that people will use against you.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, no, that's so true. But I'll say this, that's what we do to ourselves. We do that to ourselves because I've seen guys in prison not be so tough guy and so masked up or whatever. Now, I mean, it's tough for them. So a lot of guys that do that, we mainly do that in a cowardice way. I'll speak for myself or whoever may hear in a cowardice way. And I'll say it this way, because I don't want to get picked on, because I don't want this person to look at me this way or this, I'm going to act like this. That's a coward.
Mhm.
That's a coward. Because I don't want to seem like this person or a singled out guy, I'm going to be like this to where I'm grouped up to where if something happens, I got a group with me. It's cowardice in the end. At the time, I didn't look at it like that, and I'm going to just be honest. I didn't really look at it like that until right now. But that's what it is because there were guys that was like, I'm not getting involved in that or that or that. I'm just going to do my own thing. Now, like I say, it's tough for them, especially like when certain things may happen or they may get into it with someone who is clicked up or whatever. It could be tough, but in the end, you know what I mean? You don't have to be like that. But I was, and like I say, Canine Support Teams prison pup program that helped me take the mask off and turn the light switch all the way on.
That's wild. So, so obviously, pets have a great strength in them where they can teach you sympathy and empathy and all these other beautiful traits that I think make us better people in general. But I find it interesting, like, you know, if you were on good behavior over a certain amount of time, you could be allowed into this program. And even just adopting a dog
Mhm.
at that stage would probably have been hugely beneficial for your mental health and
Oh yeah.
your growth and empathy and sympathy and all these other things. But it seems like canine support, like they went like one step further where you not only got to care for a dog,
Mhm.
but you got to learn how to train it.
Exactly.
And that like extra little kicker I think is pretty important because then it's like now you're not just existing with a pet. You have like a purpose.
Yes, you have a purpose.
Yeah.
And so for guys like me that had a full-time job in prison, I worked in the hospital in there as a facility maintenance guy in the hospital. And I would get off of work and have to go back to my dog and train it. So now I'm at work, I'm tired. Some of the officers there, it's in the hospital, the mental ward part to where they're dealing with so much of the guys who are mentally ill to where sometimes you get that, poured on you, you know what I mean? So their frustration transference, happens to come upon us sometimes, the workers, to where now I go back and I'm like, oh man, this day was crazy. This officer was like this, like, and then I get to my cell door and I see that dog tail wagging, excited, so happy to see me home. Now everything that I just dealt with at the job is gone. I'm ready to leash the dog up, go for a walk now, come back, take the dog up, train, then exercise. Count time comes. Now I'm ready to get the dog right back upstairs, do another training session. Why? The therapeutic part of it. That dog in the cell with me helped me to depressurize from all the crap that I just had at the job.
Yeah.
So not only is the dog going to go out to be a service dog to someone, but the dog is a service dog to me while in prison as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you like another life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It definitely does.
Oh, that's amazing. So how long does it normally take to train a dog while you're in prison like that?
Well, so all my dogs, because I'm vicious with the dog training, man. I can get a dog to do whatever. So by 2, 3 months, my dogs were done. Now, we would keep them maybe a little while longer because team training is not yet, or, the dog may, they may want to observe the dog for this issue, or it may have had a health condition first. Let's see how to, whatever. But when I get a dog, that dog is ready within 2 to 3 months. It's fully ready to do everything.
So I might be a little naive and I know nothing about this world, so give me some slack on this.
Mhm.
But like if you train a dog for 3 months, isn't that dog like bound to you? And doesn't
Yes.
that dog like only respect you and only listen to your commands?
Well, it can be, and that's where some of the guys run into that problem. And I stress it every time I go into the prison to do a class. I stress it to the guys. Let your dog work with other guys. Get your dog working with other guys. So my dog, after about the first week of me training, say for example, I'm starting off with sit and down. Once the dog has a concept, this guy over here is finishing the sitting down. He's putting the finishing touches on it. Then say I'll start with after that, go around. The dog understands the concept means to go around this chair and come to this side of me. once the dog just has the concept, this other guy is finishing this part of it. So I would do the foundational works and I would let 2 to 3 guys work with my dog. So when Canine Support Team comes to get the dog, this dog will go and work for whoever it needs to work for because it's not only looking to me as master and the treat giver or the feeder or whatever. No, maybe this guy is master, but this guy also, I'm gonna have to listen to this one too. I'm gonna have to listen to so to where now they take the dog out and say there's 3 clients. They may try the client with this guy today. They may not be the perfect match. So to where 2 days after that, they give it to this, but the dog is performing and doing all the tasks for whoever they give the dog to. Whoever gets that leash, that dog is going to work for because I make sure that I instill it in the dog's mind that, hey, you are a service dog. You're going to be loved, but you're going to have to work for somebody other than me.
Did you get like special permissions because you were in prison and also working with canine support? Like you mentioned, like you would come back from a tough shift at the hospital, and the dog was there, waiting for you,
Mhm.
and then you could take it outside and take it to do
Yes.
some exercise. Like that seems like a lot of freedom.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you have like special freedoms? Like, did you have any benefit with regards to freedom of movement because you were part of the program?
Well, if there was no movement, then what we had a backyard, well, on D yard and where the prison program is located now on C yard at Chino Prison. So we have a backyard that we can take the dogs out to. But if there's no movement at all, we don't get to just go out to the main yard because we're in the dog program.
Right.
We still have to live by and follow the rules. And it's good that way because I'll say 20% of the prison population is kind of against it or they kind of hate on the dog program guys anyway. So 20% of the population is good to where we don't look like we have special privileges because that may not go well for the program.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, do you get like a manual on how to train these dogs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we have our Canine Support Teams manual that we give the guys, Canine Support Teams theory track, Canine Support Teams task, obedience, directional. Yeah, these it's not just that the guys get to they have to do homework, they have to study, they take tests and all that. We just the other day, excuse me, last night, I just handed out awards to the guys who have completed our Canine Support Teams Prison Pup program apprenticeship. They were there. They seen the guys get their awards.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's these guys, man. Listen, you'll see stuff on TV and things about like prison, but you see the dog program, it'll change your whole view of the stereotype of prison. These guys really put in work, and you see guys I know personally that were no joke. Let's just put it like that, non-tolerant, no joke at one point in their prison term and you see these guys with these dogs, and you're like, "What in the world?" For me, I can look at him and say that it's like the guy I mentioned earlier, TN Tran. I know this guy, especially from back in the day when I went into prison. This guy was not a good guy, didn't tolerate much.
Mhm.
And you see him hold this dog and carry this dog and have this dog on his lap and lay down on the bed. I'm like, "No way, that's the guy that I knew, almost 17 years ago, no way."
Yeah.
But that's what the program does.
Yeah.
But why is he like that? Because Canine Support Team has told him, "Hey, you're trustworthy. Take this dog, and you know what? This dog is gonna go to be with an amputee or with a person who suffers from PTSD or whatever it is." So that gives him the incentive to say, "You know what? I get this dog, I'm gonna train it all the way right." But not only does it give him the incentive for that, it also gives him the confidence within himself that that mask, I never have to put it on again.
Mhm.
That's what this Canine Support Teams Prison Pup program is truly about, man. Yes, it is about getting the client's dogs and helping and providing assistance to communities and societies where our clients are at. But it's also about letting the guys inside know that you have value, that you mean something. That's what it did to me personally. It let me know that I have value and that I mean something. When they gave me the leash and turned around and walked out the door, didn't say this, do this, you can't do this, you can't do it, you can't do it. They said, "Hey, here's the leash. We need the dog to learn this and that. And then, teach her all the basic stuff with her." And they walked out. They didn't call. Lopez didn't come down and looking at myself every minute to check on the dog. That let me know that, you know what? They trust me.
Purpose.
Yes, exactly.
So did the dog training program, did the canine support team, like how many dogs did you train over how many years? And did it lead to you getting out of prison earlier?
Yeah, it had something to do with it, and I'll explain that. But so over the 4 years and some change that I was in the program, I trained 7 dogs. I think I had 7 or 8 dogs, but I also helped other guys with their dogs. So I had one of my buddies, he had this dog, Josie, he couldn't get her retrieval all the way down pat, so I had to teach her retrieval. Then another guy, he wanted to teach his dog how to pull the wheelchair. He couldn't get the dog to do it, so I had to teach his dog how to pull the wheelchair out of a room. So I've worked with, I say, over 15 dogs within my time in the program, teaching certain dogs or helping guys get their dog, to a certain state where they can take the dog out to be part of a team training. And the other question was what again?
Just and did it lead to you getting out earlier or
Yes.
getting, yeah.
So I was put up for resentencing. Basically, the laws had changed in California, and the 1170 Penal Code 1170 came into effect, where the courts can resentence you based on your good behavior time. So I was recommended to be resentenced, and my resentencing had went forth, but it took Officer Lopez and Warden Pennington to basically Lopez to give the word for my resentence and write me a letter, and for Warden Pennington to sign off on it.
Mhm.
That happened for me because of my dedication in CST's prison pup program.
Mhm.
Because I was always at every class, because all of my homework was always turned in, because I took every test and scored high, because I took every dog that they gave me serious, because I was the chairman of the program and would always get guys up and get guys going in class and encourage the guys to get involved and do certain things. Because they seen that, they were willing to sign off for my resentencing.
Mhm.
If they don't see that, I don't believe I'm resentenced today. I'm still doing the rest of my time, right? All God's plan. God put those 2 men in my life and put me on that course with Canine Support Team for a reason for that to happen. And I say that because without Canine Support Team's prison pup program in there, I don't have Lopez and Warden Pennington there to sign off on anything for me.
Yeah.
I'm still just sitting there in the cell or a dorm. So that's why I say yes, Canine Support Team was very impactful in my resentencing because the 2 men that were needed there were connected to Canine Support Team's prison pup program.
And then when you got out, now you work for
Yes, I
CST.
work
Yeah.
for Canine Support Teams, man, full fledged. Yes, I love everyone there. Nancy, Michael, man, Brenda, Shara, just everyone. Kate, all my coworkers, man. I have the greatest team. My coworker Helena, Bailey, and Genevieve. We are like, I will put us up with some of their knowledge and then some of our dog training skills. I'll put us up against any dog training team out there. I don't care who it is, and we'll smack them.
Okay, so now we know how the dogs are trained. So
Yes.
who comes to CST looking for a dog?
Who comes to CST looking for a dog? So we have wounded veterans,
Mhm.
right? That's the majority of the people that come are guys that went
Do
and
they
they
know
could.
do they know they need a dog, or does someone say, "Hey, like, there's this program, Canine Support Team, maybe you would wanna talk to them," or something? Because like, if I'm wounded,
Mhm,
like, or if I'm really hurting
mhm.
mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, wherever you're in that vulnerable position where an animal can be of assistance,
Mhm.
like, you don't necessarily know who to call.
Okay.
I'm just like, is it a therapist that, like, recommends, or is like, how does that even work?
Well, I don't, as far as on their end, the veterans end, I don't know if like therapists, but I know that they do have to have their DD-214s from the military in order to qualify. And they have to have like their medical write-offs and things like that for them to qualify for a service dog.
DD2 what?
It's some military term. You are just as lost on it as I is, so don't feel too bad about that. But, I know that that's something that we look for, right? And, they have to have that, and then they do have to be medically, approved for them to have a service dog. Now, I will say that In some instances, my coworker, she'll call and she'll reach out and she'll talk to certain clients that have filled out applications online. Sometimes I'm out there and I'll see a guy and he may have like, the flag on his truck and he'll get out with a flag. And I'll just ask my coworkers, they laugh at me. I'll ask, hey man, you a veteran? Then I'll talk with him. And if he is, and he's one who's looking for a dog, I say, man, if you ever, looking for a service dog, call Canine Support Teams. I always put caninesupportteams.org out there. Every time I'm out shopping or something, somebody hears about Canine Support Teams. I have a dog with me. One time, the guy, he's actually in our program now, awaiting a service dog. And he seen me out in public with one of our dogs. And he asked me, he was like, oh man, where'd you serve? And I told him, I was like, man, Chino prison, man. So he was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, I served in Chino prison, man. And he was like, oh, okay, man. He said, I thought you were a vet. I was like, no. I said, are you? And he was like, yeah. I said, man, thank you for your service. He's like, yeah, I see your shirt. You guys train service dogs or whatever. So I was like, yeah. He's like, man, I have a dog. I wonder if my dog can get trained as a service dog. Gave him Bailey's number. Man, call my coworker. She does all of those little things. I'm the guy. I get the dogs out. I train them. I do prison reports and stuff like all the the computer and the filing of clients and all that. Bailey does all that. So anyway, he got a hold of Bailey, got his dog into the program, and his dog is set to complete our program.
And then the dog goes back to that same owner.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Now, in this case, so we have a dog, Ladybug, from a veteran that we have. She's going to come with me and go into the prison to get her training. We also had a guy who served our nation for, I think he served 24 years, if I'm correct on that. His dog was Lily. She just completed her training in our prison pup program. That's what we call Canine Support Teams outside cert program. What an outside cert is, it's your dog, we'll take it in. So you're outside, we'll take it in, put it inside the prison, train it up, and then give it to you. And you do our team training with us. And boom, now we helped you get your dog.
So you have to like give your dog up for a couple of weeks or months to get all
Sometimes
trained up.
sometimes they do their own training with my coworker Genevieve will do lessons, or I'll do lessons with an outside cert person, and we'll do the training and help them. We'll start off the foundation and then teach them how to do it, and then they train their dog.
So
So we also they get a dog, service dog, and they get us helping them, and then they also become dog trainers themselves.
Oh.
Canine support teams is just bigger than dogs, man. Yeah.
training dogs and people.
Yes, and training people how to train their dogs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So like what percentage, you might not be the right person to explain this, but like this might be a more admin question,
Mhm.
but like what percentage of people who come to canine support teams like fill out a form directly on their own
Mhm.
versus get recommended through a third party? Like, because I'm just curious, um, I'm just kind of curious. Like, I think everyone out there needs a pet, whether it's a dog or a cat or whatever. Like, I think pets are the best. And but I'm just curious, like the amount of people who probably come to your service, like
Mhm.
they might be aware that they need a pet
Mhm.
in order to fill some, to help them, to service them in some way, shape, or form. But imagine how many people don't know that
Yes.
a pet
Many
might
people.
help them with A,
Exactly.
B, C, and D, which is something that they're going through at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just wondering, like, how those people find you.
Well, and so I would say this, the percentage part, you're absolutely right. That's like an admin thing. They would have to, get numbers together. But I will say that there are a lot of service dog companies around. Me and the team, Shara and the rest of the team, we just went to a service dog conference not too long ago, and there were a lot of service dog companies there. So I'm not going to say any names of them because we, with our knowledge in what we do and how we do it, and how our dogs look, we are like smoking them.
Hmm.
Like, I'm serious, where we are at, our knowledge and what we do and how we do it and how our system runs, I'll say for the ones that were at that conference in Missouri, in St. Charles, Missouri, the ones that were there were smoking there. The ones that weren't, I can't speak on because I didn't see them. But
Sure.
everyone that was there, it was over 20 other service dog organizations, were smoking them. So when people are referred or they fill out an application on their own, or they just may Google, how do I get a service dog? I'm a veteran, and Canine Support Team comes up. the majority of the people that get a dog by Canine Support Team, they never go nowhere else. They come right back and
Mm.
get another Support Team dog, and then when that dog is ready to retire, they come right back because, I mean, I'm just being real. There was no other company on our level at that conference. And I'm serious. I'm not saying that because I'm CST. Yes, I'm saying it because I'm CST, but I'm just being real with you as well.
Mm.
Just where we were at and what we knew. And I mean, man, it was so many times that some of those people at that conference came up to Shar to get information from her or tips from me or Helena or Bailey, whatever, because like when a question was asked, some guy would say something, and then we would say, well, and everybody's like, oh, okay, then boom, that class is over from that conference, and they're over there. Well, how did you guys do this? Well, what do you think this? What do you think? That's just who we are, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. Because like, if I was a military veteran and I was suffering, mentally or emotionally, and I thought an animal would be a good companion for me and help me
Mhm.
kind of like break through with something I was working on, for example, I'm just trying to figure out like who would just go to the pound and pick
Mhm.
up a pet
Yes.
and then who would Google search for like a service animal.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to understand that difference because like we've all been to the pound before, we've all been to the, we've all seen all the little cute animals behind the cages, and our hearts melt, and they put them
Yes.
on social media all the time, and that's one thing.
Mhm.
But I'm just curious, like I'm trying to understand the profile of the customers of like who would Google search Canine Support Team.
Well, I know too, if you think about like even like the VAs, I went to the VA with my uncle the other day, and they have like the service dog, some of the service dog companies,
Mhm.
and Canine Support Team was actually one of the ones that were up there.
Okay.
There was a couple other one, Paws for soldiers and things like that. But so that could also be a way how some people just pick up the phone and may call Joe or Bailey and talk to them about getting a service dog. So it's different ways, but to tell you like the actual percentage or how many people just directly just come straight to CST, I couldn't tell you that, but I can tell you that there are avenues from like promotions. A lot of times, we may do certain events. Joe may go to like a baseball game and promote the company, and say there's 5 vets there, 2 of them may reach out and call her, or like I say, Google search or being at the VA or things like that. But to give you a pinpoint answer on that, that may be something that, maybe another person in another field at CST could tell you.
Yeah.
But to give you an exact answer to it, I think there's many ways that a person can figure out on how to get a service dog.
Yeah. No, that's wild. And I think too, like, beyond just getting an animal as a companion, you might as well get a service dog because they're better trained, right? Like, that's also part of it. Like, you might not have an ailment, in which case you need a service dog,
Mhm.
like a service dog, in a traditional kind of sense where the dog actually helps you
Mhm.
with day to day functions, like you mentioned, opening doors, turning off lights, things like that, maybe pulling or a wheelchair or something like that. But if you're totally able bodied and you just need an animal companion, having a service dog might just be better because they're better trained. Does that make?
No, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you 2 examples. So, the lady, that I just told you I went to, Florida out there to take her dog. So, this lady wanted to get a dog, right? She wanted to get another dog. Her dog was down. She told me over the phone, she's like, "I don't know how my dog," her dog's name was Gidget. She's like, "I don't know how Gidget would act. She's not really, as active as she was before when they had the other dog." She's like, "So I don't really know, how she would be, whatever, whatever." This was over the phone before I got there. So while I'm on the plane, I'm like, ah, man, okay. So she got another dog. The dog's kind of older. Let's see, Sadie's great with every dog, but there's still the nature of a beast. So you never know. So I have to be very careful on how I approach the situation. Man, I get in there, that dog went nuts, barking, tail wagging there. The uh 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 the lady actually told me, she's like, I don't know what she's like. She's more happier than we are about the dog. And this lady has sent me picture upon picture with these 2 dogs and videos of her dog roaming. And she was like, yeah, she's active now. She got her a buddy. She's teaching Sadie how to do this around the house, whatever. This is a week, 2 weeks after she just says, I don't know how she will be. She's not really active. She's not doing much anymore.
Mhm.
That right there was not only service for her to see her dog happy again.
Service dogs for dogs.
Exactly, the dog was also service dog for her.
Yeah.
Example 2, we have a dog, Lucas. Lucas can do everything. He is great. He's a little skittish, which basically prevented him from being a service dog because at certain noises and stuff, his recovery time is real bad when he recovers from it. So I have a niece who like suffers from I don't know what you call it, but she cries a lot and she mopes and stuff or whatever, over things. And my brother-in-law is not a dog guy at all. He does not like dogs, doesn't want dogs. He seen Lucas and he fell in love with this dog, and therefore, now his daughter, who's not as always running around and whatever, kind of down, just tablet or crying about certain things. Now she's running around chasing this dog. I just sent Brenda and Shard a video. They're running around chasing the dog in the yard. My brother in law, who does not want dogs at all, is hugging this dog, holding it. The dog's on his lap all the time. So he did not know that he needed a dog. He didn't want one,
Mhm.
but now he realized that he did need a dog. And that's what Canine Support Teams does. These dogs could not be used in the certified service field, but they
Right.
still go out to be a service to the people that still are in need of dogs.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to describe it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So, how many people are like you who have gone through the training program in prison and then come out and worked for canine support teams?
So there's been a few. There been a few, but I'll tell you that there are guys who come out of Canine Support Teams Prison Pup Program, and they go and work for other dog companies as far as like just dog training. Maybe not service dog because the opportunity didn't present itself,
Mm.
but they'll go out and get jobs working at other dog training companies, or they go out and they get a job. Period. It doesn't matter that it's a dog training job or whatever. They go out and they get a job because their life was get up, train the dog, work, be on time to class, do your homework, turn your homework in on time. Basically, they gained a sense of responsibility and maturity through Canine Support Teams program,
Mhm.
so they can go out now and show what Canine Support Teams Prison Pup program helped instill in them. They can go out and show that into the work field and then get a job.
That's really important actually, because I had my friend Mike, who's been on the podcast a few times. He was a parole officer, and he also used to work as a prison guard.
Mhm.
And he's been on the podcast a few times, and he was always telling me just how hard it was for people to come out of a prison program and like reintegrate into society,
Yeah,
and how kind of judgmental employers were about hiring people
for
with,
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
with the, and I just think like if you have the opportunity to be responsible and train
Exactly.
animals, like,
Yes.
and then you can come out. I mean, it's almost like you can get a job right away.
Yes. No, for sure. And that's what happened with me through Canine Support Team because they seen something in me. The very first time I met Nancy when we were still on D Yard, Nancy told me something, and I don't know if she remembers now because I told her when we were on the phone a while back. But she told me, she said, "Man, you are gonna do great things." She said, "I could see you training dog. You're gonna," because I had this dog that stunned everyone because not a lot of people had high hopes for this dog, Z at all, and this dog turned out to be an amazing dog. But anyway, she had told me that, right? And when you think about like recidivism, right? The recidivism rate being super, super high, right, in California.
Recidivism is like where people come out of jail and then they go back
Go
into
back.
jail.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, right. So, but and not just California, in the United States, period. It's ridiculous in comparison to all other countries. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so when you think about that, you're like, okay, statistic, and that's just what it is. But when you have people like the people that were at Canine Support Teams who open that door to you because they see something better in you, or people that look at you and say that, okay, he went to the interview, he presented himself real well. Yeah, he's a convict, but man, look how good he presented himself in comparison to the guy who's not a convict that may not have had a good presentation. Presentation to us as humans is everything. So to where he didn't really have such a good, I'm going to roll the dice on the prisoner. It's a lot of guys right now that I knew personally that I was like buddy with in prison that are working right now out on the streets working good jobs. And four of those guys were part of the Canine Support Teams prison pup program. And all four of those guys took their dogs, their jobs, their homework, their responsibilities with these dogs. They took them very serious. So I'm going to look at those four and say, because they were so diligent in the program that Canine Support Team offered, that's why those guys got jobs and they're still on those jobs today and doing them, and they have not fallen to the recidivism stigma or whatever.
Yeah, no, that makes good sense. No, it's amazing what happens to human beings when you give them purpose and passion, right?
Yes, yep, and a chance.
Wow.
We give them purpose, passion, and a chance, man. And so this is Canine Support Teams offered me the job, right? About maybe 2 weeks after I was released. So I'm like super appreciative, super ecstatic and everything. And I'm like, yes. So about a week after I got out, this is how much Canine Support Teams meant to me. And this right here should prove to everyone listening, there's no butter in this. This is all real right here, right? I get out, and about a week of being out, I go get a dog from Canine Support Teams to puppy raise. You know why I went and got that dog? I went and got that dog because, for one, I did not want to go to the streets. I did not want to go to team club to be bored while being out, go find some old homie or whatever, or go to an old place where I used to hang. And I knew that if I got that dog, I had a responsibility. I knew that. So I got a dog to help puppy raise for some time until I was able to get a job. A week after I get the dog puppy raised, the job offer is presented to me by Canine Support Teams. 2 weeks after that, I get a job offer from a hospital. That's I have all my apprenticeship in healthcare facility maintenance, to where I can clean hospitals, work on certain things in hospitals, whatever.
Because that was your job when you were in
That
prison.
was a job while I was in prison, but I was also my job was these dogs, right? So I get a job offer from them. So I'm like, man, what do I do?
Oh,
What
dogs are way better than people.
Yes, no, for sure. So I'm like, what do I do? Do I, you know, ride it out with CST because, like, the job was thrown to me right away? Do I show my loyalty by just sticking there? Or do I, just say, hey, look, this job is offering to pay a little more, whatever. What do I do, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my nephew, my niece, and they're playing with this dog, Deacon, that I'm puppy raising, and they're running around the house. My mom loves this dog, everything. And I'm like, I'm sticking it with CST. I'm just gonna take that job. I'm just gonna do it. What made me say that? That dog in the home, how good it was with my family, as much joy as it was bringing those kids. This was around the holidays. Keep in mind, Thanksgiving, I got this dog with me around the holidays. So the kids are over there all the time and they're running around with this dog. They're doing this with and I'm like, you know what? These dogs are going to bring more joy into my life than hearing orders about mopping this floor.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the dog. No, but in a sense, that dog, Beacon, as a puppy, was service to me because I seen how happy my nieces and nephews and them are. So to where every time I get a chance to take a dog to a home visit or take a dog into a home setting to prepare it to be in a home for a client, and like if my nieces and them are there, because we have to keep dogs around kids and socializing with kids, and just the joy that are on, like, my nieces and nephews' face and stuff, and my granddaughter's face. The other day, my granddaughter had a chance to see Lucas for the first time, and she was just like, so she's 3 years old. She run to him, and Lucas lick her in the face, and that's so, like, man, there's nothing better than that. I don't get that from a hospital job at all. Nothing but stress. So even though that dog was only a puppy,
Mhm.
not ready for service at all, he did a service deed for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, it's real, man.
How many dogs have you trained by this stage? Do you keep track, or is it too painful when
Man,
they come into your
yeah.
life and then leave?
So I'll say more so now I assist training. So I trained two since being out, two outside cert dogs that the clients could not train. We kept them at the facility, and that was my task every day. I did 3 training sessions with these dogs and got them out for socialization.
Mhm.
So I would say two since being out, but I work with every day I'm taking dogs out, training them out in public, getting them ready for team trainings, whatever. But I'm not going to take any credit from the guys in prison. I don't do really anything as far as training like how I used to in prison because those guys in our prison pup program make it so easy to where all I got to do is get out and maintain everything that they done, just maintenance. That's it. So I've trained 2 dogs for outside cert clients, but other than that, man, every dog that I've gotten to work with has been like, man, a car, man, a luxury car. It's already ready for me. So
Yeah. Do you have a dog of your own?
yes, I do, man. We got a dog. We got a Rocky, man. He's a Belgian Malinois, and he's a nut too, man. I don't train.
Well trained though? Well trained? No?
Train my own dog. No, no, I don't really. He's good. He's a house dog. He knows his sit, his down, his side, his heel. But as far as all the like the service stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, I ain't done nothing with him. Yeah, it's his. The house is his castle anyway. So
He can just chill.
yeah, he can just chill, man. Yeah.
That's wild. Is there anything about canine support that we haven't talked about yet that you wanted to bring up?
Um, I mean, we pretty much talked about and covered it all, but I do want to say that Canine Support Teams is here to serve everyone. If there is a wounded veteran out there or a child with autism or anyone listening, I want you to know that Canine Support Teams is here for you. Please look us up on caninesupportteam.org and contact us.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'll put the links in the description and stuff like that when we publish, so that's no problem at all.
Yes, sir.
But it seems to be a transformative journey for you.
Oh, for sure. So I'll say this, being out of prison, coming from that prison environment, even though I transferred down to a lower level and my last few years I spent on a lower level prison, but just coming from that,
Lower level, sorry, you mean lower security?
yes,
Yeah.
lower security level, excuse me, is just prison lingo. Sorry about that. Lower level, that's prison. If I was to say lower level to a convict, he'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, what you went to, a 2 or 1?
I'm like, are you in the
Uh,
basement or what's
yeah,
going on?
yeah. But no, lower security levels, right?
Yeah.
So just even though I finished off my time there, but still that environment, that mentality, everything, it stays, it's just there,
Mhm.
especially if you've done as much time as I did. It's there. Canine support teams has helped me to lose every bit of, I'll say, prison, right? And institutionalizing that I thought I was gonna have. Like, I'm serious. Without that quick transition into there, that was my biggest fear of coming out. Am I going to suffer from being institutionalized? And I truly believe that Canine Support Team and their mission, as far as providing assistance dogs, but Canine Support Team is about service. And the mission that we hold to has helped me put away so much of the prison mentality. Like, I don't think at all like a prisoner anymore. And I know for sure it's because of the opportunity that I was given from Canine Support Team.
Because that reintegration can be really difficult.
Oh man, man, listen, I got a buddy right now who's been out for he's been out 3 years now. He's been out of prison for almost 3 years, and he's struggling. Like he's like I'm working with him every day mentally. He's struggling because of the time he did. The institutionalized mind that he has, and the fact that he hasn't been able to get a job. Is just like, yeah,
And
it-
he needs one of your dogs.
yeah, he does, man. But this guy, I don't know if I'd give him one of my dogs, man. No.
Do you see like programs like this maybe popping up around the United States or even internationally? You know, do you see this like happening more often? Because there's so many people who are in prison who want more responsibility, who are open to having
Yeah.
more of a purpose and stuff like that. And I think, you know, this offers a great program. Like you'd think, you know, you guys obviously work with this one prison, I think, but you'd think like this might be happening at prisons all around the country or even in Europe or something like that, but it probably doesn't happen anywhere.
Well, I'll say this. We actually are in 2 prisons. We're in the women's, CIW,
Mhm.
and CIM. We're in, Canine Support Teams. We, basically run a program in 2 prisons for the women and for the men. But I'll say that I hope so.
Mm,
I hope that people see what Canine Support Team is doing, see the impact that we are having on these guys' lives. Like, tomorrow for our banquet that we're doing,
right?
We have 3 guys who were in the prison pup program who did a significant amount of time, who are out and successful right now living, and they're coming to the banquet to show their appreciation to Canine Support Teams because they know how impactful Canine Support Teams was in their transition, in their life changing and everything. So I pray and I hope that they put more programs like this in prison. It will definitely help the recidivism rate across the world.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, because again, like I've seen a lot of stuff on social media and whatnot about cats in prisons,
Mhm.
but you can't really train a cat, right? Like,
Yeah.
the cat does whatever the fuck it wants to
Yes.
do, and
Yep.
if it wants to hang out with you, it hangs out with you. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's a great way to show responsibility and show some empathy. But it
Yes.
doesn't give you like a real purpose of like, I need to train this fucking dog
Exactly.
how to help out one of our customers
That's
down the road. And
exactly.
I feel like that's just another like step up.
Exactly. That's what it is. Purpose. Everybody, all those guys in that program, they wake up every morning with a purpose. And their purpose is to have these dogs ready. When we went in to take these 2 dogs out yesterday, like 3 or 4 other guys were like, "Hey, look, man, a dog is ready. It's ready to go. The dog does this, does this. What else do you want me to do with it? What else do you want me to teach it or whatever until you come to take the." They are ready and willing every day to make these dogs better and better, man.
And as you described, you had to work like a whole shift at the hospital
Mhm.
and then train the dog after. So this is not
Yep.
like you're still doing your normal prison work
Yes.
and then you have to
And
come.
you yes. Yep. And that's why those guys in there have my respect. When I was in there, I respected everyone in that program. There was the twos and fews that I may did not want to deal with, but respected highly. Everyone in there I respect because I know a lot of those guys get off work and they may be dealing with something at home, something that has happened on the street or whatever, and they put that down, put that to the side. They die to themselves in order to continue the mission for Canine Support Teams.
Yeah. Well, let's hope there's other wardens out there who are listening to this podcast and who
Yes.
are like, we should have a program like this in our prison. Maybe it would help.
Man, yes, for sure. That would be great. That would really be great. Man, I can't stress enough the impact that it would have on our nation.
Yeah, really, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Beyond just the people, I think that need the dog for their service elements of it.
Yes.
Like just the training of the dog is something that shouldn't be overlooked.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
for sure. Like I was at Lancaster and they had a dog program there. It wasn't a service dog program, but they had a dog program there and everyone in there, their whole mind, their way of thinking, how these guys operate, everything changed. I knew a few of those guys personally before they got in the program. They were crazy. They get in this program and now they're, "Hey, buddy, hey, come here, poochie, poochie." Like, man, what is that old voice you was having out on the yard? So yeah,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Lets you be a human again, right?
Yeah, come on, yes, sir, for sure, man.
Uh, Brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. It's been amazing.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having us, man. And I would like to extend deep appreciation and gratitude from everyone at Canine Support Teams for this opportunity.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, look, thanks for coming out and we'll catch up next time.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.